Hey guys, welcome to Builder Funnel Radio. Today's going to be a little bit different. We've been getting a lot of questions just from our audience, our listeners, and we thought it would be good to sprinkle in a few episodes, maybe every other episode, where we're actually just going to address those questions. So a little bit of a new format. Hope you guys enjoy it. And today we're going to start out, probably tackle 2 or 3 on these off weeks, just so you guys can get a little bit of variety. And if you have questions, definitely send them in. We'd love to hear from you, and then we can address those questions on the show. So easiest way to send in your question would be hello@builderfunnel.com. And do me a favor and put the question in the subject line. And if you want to give some backstory, go ahead and put that in the body of the email. But that'll really help streamline as those questions are coming in. We can try to group them and batch them. So it makes it easier on us. We appreciate it. But go ahead and send your questions to hello@builderfunnel.com. That being said, let's jump right in. So the first question, and this comes up a lot still, and it is, what is inbound marketing? And that's a term that's been floating around for a while now, but I think there's still some confusion. So thought we'd break that down today. And really at the core of what inbound marketing is that it matches the way people shop and buy today. And so the way people shop and buy is very different today than it used to be 20, 30, 40 years ago. So you used to go and talk to a salesperson. You'd go into a retail store, you'd go to a car lot, you'd go to wherever you were going to purchase something, and you would have to talk to the salesperson. They had all the information. That obviously is very, very different now. Today you can go online and get pretty much anything you want. So when you're going to go and buy something, whether that's a new house, a remodeling project, something on Amazon for your house, anything under the sun, typically you go to Google first, or you go to social media. You might ask your friends, but online is a huge component of that. And so inbound marketing is all about matching your marketing strategy to the way people shop and buy. So as an example, you might have originally run some TV and radio and billboard ads. Those are kind of the traditional push marketing. So you're pushing your message out to your target audience, or what you hope is your target audience. Whereas with inbound marketing, what you're doing is creating content. So content is typically a blog post. It could be a website page, could be a video, or could be a podcast like this one. But it's some form of content that when somebody does a search on Google, or they're on social media, and they're looking for something, they find that content. So they're drawn to you. Thus, inbound marketing, we're pulling those people to us. And so really, that breaks down into a few different components. But the overall answer to that question is that inbound marketing is about attracting your target audience, whereas outbound marketing is about pushing your message out to them. So hopefully that helps and kind of clears up the distinction between outbound and inbound marketing. And inbound marketing is really kind of a form of digital marketing, but there's still some digital marketing tactics that are a little bit more outbound, where you're pushing a message to your audience. So another question we get that kind of goes along with that is, what are the stages or the different components of inbound marketing? And so let's break those down. And there's really a few core components. And the first one is all about driving traffic to your website. So we kind of started to talk about a little bit of that, where we said it's all about creating content and drawing people in. And so that's one of the first elements to driving traffic to your website, and that is creating content. So we want to make sure that we're writing content, or creating video content or audio content that is addressing questions that your target audience might have, or it could be something that they're looking for. So it could be new homes in Denver, or remodeling company in Atlanta. And so they're just searching for a very specific phrase, and they're trying to find a company like yours. So it could be Painter Atlanta, and okay, they're doing a search, they're trying to find a painter, there's a reason they're trying to find a painter, hopefully I can get found by them. And then there's other questions like, how much does it cost to paint the exterior of my home? Whereas that's more of a research-based question, but they're still looking for a painter ultimately. Why else would you want to know that unless you're kind of in that research process? So There's lots of different topics, and that's probably another Q&A podcast down the road, but there's lots of different topics that you can cover that will start to attract your audience. And so typically your traffic drivers are going to be content paired with SEO, or search engine optimization. And really, we've tackled just a small piece of that, but an easy way to get started is just thinking of questions that your target audience has. And if people are typing those questions into Google and you're answering those questions, you can start to get found. That's a very, very, very basic overview of how you can kind of start to incorporate some SEO elements. But we see content and SEO going hand in hand, so that's one part of it. The other part of it is social media. And social media is a great amplifier for that content. So let's say you just wrote one of those blog posts or you did a video. Now you can go and share it on Facebook or share it on Instagram or share it on YouTube if it's a video. And that's how you can actually get more exposure. You can get it in front of more people. So we've got content, SEO, social media, and then we also have paid advertising. So a couple of good channels for that would be Google AdWords and Facebook advertising. We've been doing a lot with Facebook advertising, and I definitely recommend checking that out. But those tend to be kind of some of your core components in the drive traffic stage of inbound marketing. So what do we do when we get these people to our site? They're doing Google searches, they're on social media, they're clicking links, and they finally get back to your website. The next critical piece is conversion, lead conversion. So that's phase 2. So once somebody gets to your website, we want to be able to capture their information, get them to fill out a form or give us a call. So the way we look at it is there's a couple of areas of conversion. There's kind of your top of the funnel conversion point, and that might be a little bit more research based and for somebody that isn't necessarily ready to talk to a salesperson. So that might be something like a download, an ebook, a guide, a checklist, something where they have to fill out a form in exchange for whatever it is that you're giving them. So they might be 6 months from actually ready to make a purchase, maybe 12 months or even longer, but they're not really at the buying stage right now. They're a good lead, they're a good opportunity, just not yet. So that would be kind of a top of the funnel conversion point. The next piece would be more of a bottom of the funnel conversion point where they've done a lot of research and they're ready to talk to somebody. And so that might be like an open house or schedule a consultation, something like that. So once we've captured a lead, obviously if they're a sales ready lead, boom, get them over to sales. Let's start the conversation. Let's move them into the pipeline. But for those top of the funnel leads, that takes us to our third step in the inbound process, which is lead nurturing. And that's where email comes into play. So if somebody downloads a guide or a checklist from your website, then we want to nurture them and build those brand touches over time, build some trust and some credibility. And then we can offer them that opportunity to move into the sales process when they're ready. Because you're not going to get somebody to buy if they're not ready to buy. So we just want to build those positive brand touches with them through an email newsletter, maybe send them some awards you've won, some recently completed homes or remodeling projects. So they get to start to know you a little bit, and they can see the quality of work that you do. And then ultimately, 6 months later, when they're actually ready to talk to somebody, if you've kind of been there every step of the way, you've got a really good shot that you'll be a part of that sales process and that sales decision. So that's the nurturing step. And then the last phase is really post-sale, and that is the delight phase. So once we've actually closed a customer, what can we continue to do from like a content, email standpoint to really amplify that experience for that customer? So maybe you sold them a home, and now every year you send them reminders on how to maintain their house for winter, or do some winterizing or some spring cleaning tips, or maybe every so often you remind them to change their furnace filter, or whatever it may be. But you're kind of doing all this value-added content, but it's giving them such a good experience that they can say, oh yeah, I bought my home from ABC Builders, and man, they're great. They're always sending me these tips. And plus, if you're in their inbox all the time, if they know somebody that's looking for a home, it's easy for them to forward that along and say, hey, look how great these guys were. So it doesn't just happen post-sale, but we kind of think about the delight stage as post-sale, but it's really, that whole process of, during construction or during remodeling and after the project is complete. It's kind of that whole thing there. And so the more you can do to delight your customers, the better chance that you get that they just can't help it, but they go to social media, they share about their experience, they leave you a good review, and that in turn fuels the back end of the marketing and all the way back to the top, which is how do we get more people to us. So those are, that's a lot of information, but those are the core elements of inbound marketing, which is drive traffic, convert leads, then nurture leads that aren't ready to have a sales conversation, and then how can we delight our customers so much that they just can't help but go tell more people about the experience. So I hope that helps. The last question that we're going to talk about today is, how long does it take until you see results with inbound marketing? We get this question a lot. Glad that you guys have been asking. And I want to talk about a couple of different examples that kind of paint the picture for the value of inbound marketing versus other types of advertising. So let's say you start an inbound program and you're creating 4 blogs a month and you're answering questions, how much does it cost to remodel? What are some design trends? How long does it take? All these things that you normally get in the sales process, now you're answering those in the form of blogs. So at the end of 1 year, you have 48 blog posts. Now we're going into year 2, you're continuing to create 4 blogs a month. The cool thing is that let's just say we're in January and you've done a whole year and now you're into the next January and you've got 48 blogs out there that are getting found in Google searches. So that January, not only will you get traffic from your new blogs, your 4 new blogs, but you're also going to be able to get traffic from those 48 other blogs that are on your website. They're going to live there forever. And so if somebody is searching a question that you already answered a year ago, they still can find that blog post and boom, now they're on your website. So we really look at inbound marketing as a very compounding investment. And so you're investing in this content, you're investing in these marketing efforts, and then you'll look up in 5 years and you realize, wow, I've got 300 blogs on my site or 500 blogs on my site. We have some clients that have over 1,000 blogs. Our site has over 1,000 blogs, and we still get traffic from some of those articles we wrote 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And that's super powerful, and you start to see your traffic really take off. So I will say inbound marketing typically takes, a solid 6 to 12 months before you really start to see like, okay, the trend is going in the right direction. Like you'll definitely be getting more traffic throughout that entire year. You'll be capturing more leads if you're making a concerted effort to implement some of those conversion strategies we talked about earlier. But really where you're going to see a lot of the cool stuff is years 2, 3, 4, 5, because you start to get this stacking effect. So the other thing I like to talk about when I talk about inbound marketing is kind of using this example of a planet. Now, a planet has some gravitational pull, and depending on the size of it, if it's a bigger planet, it has a lot more gravitational pull. And so your website is kind of like a planet in that sense, in that let's say you have 100 blogs or 100 website pages. Blogs and pages are kind of the same thing in terms of Google's eyes, but if you have 100 pages or blogs on your site, then you have that much gravitational pull. Each one of those articles or pages can get found in Google and draw people into you. But if you have 1,000, your website's bigger, you've got way more gravitational pull. So all those 1,000 pages or 1,000 articles can now be pulled in. You can pull in traffic through those. So inbound marketing does take time, but you've got 2 things working for you, which is, kind of that gravitational pull, that planet example, and then you've also got the compounding effect of inbound marketing. So hopefully this was an interesting episode and a helpful episode for you guys today. Talked about what is inbound marketing, talked about what are the different stages and components, and then we just talked about how long it takes to get results with inbound marketing. So again, we'd love to have you guys still send in some questions. We're going to be tackling these probably every other week going forward, and we'll try to tackle 2 or 3 each episode. So again, send in your questions to hello@builderfunnel.com. Put your question in the subject line. That'll make it really easy. Gives you a better chance that we'll answer it in one of these episodes. So again, thanks for tuning in this time, and we'll see you next week on Builder Funnel Radio.